All righty, let's get started. This is the first class for the comparative religion. Comparative religion. And after starting this, I think maybe should not have said comparative, but it's study of different religions. Okay. As always, you got any questions, talk to me. Okay. First, did everyone get the book?
I did, Pastor Joe.
You got the
Thank you.
book? Okay. Blessing, did you get the book? Blessing.
No, oh, sorry. I was speaking. I thought I unmuted myself. I got I got the message from the WhatsApp group, Pastor. Yes,
Okay, did you get the book?
from the WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah, I gave you a website to go and get the book that we're gonna be using.
No, I haven't went to the website yet.
Okay, you need to do that because that's gonna be key to what we do.
Okay, Pastor.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
and also, uh, uh, Pastor Moron. Hello,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Good. I see Mrs. Moron on here.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm using my wife's laptop. I'm sorry. I
I
didn't even
know it.
notice that it went with that
No
name. I'll check.
problem.
Yes.
No
You
problem.
know, I
No
got the
problem.
book, Pastor Joe. This is Alfred.
I know it. I know who it is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I got the book.
Now, my question is, did you get the book?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All righty. All right. Because the book is a very good book that we're going to use. So let's go through kind of what we're going to be talking about for the next 6 weeks or so. Okay. Okay. This is a 6 week course designed for postgraduate students. Uh, and Trezor, read the objective of the course, please.
The one that you are projecting right now?
Yes.
Okay. Data, is it for primary or detailed objective? Which one?
Primary.
Okay. Primary objective of a course. This course is designed to provide students an overview of the 5 major religions in the world today. It's not designed to say which is good and which is bad, nor to find fault with a particular belief system.
Okay.
Now,
Stop. Okay. Stop there. Okay. Now, do we understand that?
I do.
Okay. Blessing, Alfred, do y'all understand that?
Yes, Pastor. Yes.
It's
Okay.
loud and clear, sir.
Okay. That's key to the class, and it's going to be challenging sometime for us because we as Christians uh uh we believe that we are right and others are wrong. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that belief, but when we study it in an academic setting like we are now, that we cannot apply good or bad to it. We can apply different, but different does not mean bad. Just means different in this academic setting. Okay? Okay, we good there?
We're good, sir.
Okay. All righty. Blessing, the detailed objectives.
Detailed objectives. Point 1. Understand the purpose and importance of studying comparative religions. 2. Learn key terminology and concepts in the study of religion. Point 3. Develop a framework for comparing different religious traditions.
Okay, good. Okay. Um, why do you think it's important for us to study other religions? Any one of you.
I wanted you to ask that question.
I can jump in.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's very important so that at the end of the day, we may understand about other religions, like you pointedly said it in the paragraph that Treasure read was that many a times we have this perception that probably as Christians we are the only one who are correct or who are right. But I think it's very important we can know other as different religions and just to maybe even to adjust on our beliefs, because I remember one man of God said that many Christians are going to be very probably surprised during the last days or when they get to heaven, wherever heaven is, that the very people maybe they've ruled them out, they will find them, they are there as well. And hoping that because of their religion probably was not what they think is correct. I think that's my opinion there, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
On my side, I think that it is very important for us to understand and to learn about other religions, because as we are Christians and interacting with other people, it is very important to know where to start a conversation based on where someone stands in terms of their belief, so that when you are having even any general discussion, you are communicating at least with a background of knowing that I'm communicating with someone who is a Hindu, and how they understand their perspective of life. You have at least a basic knowledge of how to communicate with them. It's quite different when you are just communicating with someone whom you don't really know if they have a background of religion or they don't completely have it. So if you are addressing someone without any background, you address it differently. But if you address someone with a religion with the assumption that they don't have a religion, someone might feel even offended, and you might even choose wrong words to put across as you are having the conversation with them, which will lead into something like not really going well. So I think it's very important for us as Christians to really have a basic understanding, is just like what is written in the Bible, that there should be a strategy when we are addressing the things of God to the world. So we don't just go haphazardly. So I think it's very crucial for us.
Okay. Anything else? I think also that there's a couple of other things that we need to take in consideration. First is that sometimes when we don't understand someone's religion, kind of what Blessing said, then we presume certain things and say certain things that are not accurate. And so it creates unnecessary tension. Right. Also, basically just getting along with people. You need to sometimes understand and know so that you don't have that issue. And an example is that someone who is a Muslim don't eat pork. Well, if you're inviting somebody out to lunch, you should not be, not should having pork on the menu. You should go to a place that doesn't even sell pork. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Hello?
Pastor. Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to kind of understand that in that respect. Also, if you get into a conversation where you're trying to convert someone into Christianity, you need to kind of know what their thought pattern is so that you can counter it. I mean, and again, not being judgmental, but at least understanding. Or an example is, um, do people who Muslims, do Muslims believe in Christ? Trezor.
Yes, Pastor Joe, they believe in Christ as only as a prophet, not
Right,
as a son of God.
right. And that's kind of what we need to understand. Okay? All righty. And so we have a conversation, we know we can have what the conversation is going to be about. Okay? Any questions there?
Yes, Pastor John.
Yes.
Yeah, and just probably a follow-up question or just to continue what you've just said. Then at the end of it all, then after probably what you've just said now or what you've already covered so far, because these are different religions, the way they believe, the way they practice, the way they do things. But at the end of the day, I know, like you've said, we are not here to maybe judge anyone. But then at the end of the day, I don't know how to put it then, or should I say then, what is the correct religion? Because I don't want to 100% believe that Christianity is the only religion that probably is acceptable before God. And then I don't know if you try to understand, or you understand what I'm trying to say. So I
Yeah,
think,
I understand what you're trying to say, and I think that in this setting, we're not applying a right or wrong. We're applying
okay,
what someone does or don't do so that we
okay.
understand it, but we're not applying whether it's right or not. We compare it to Christianity and say, okay, when Christianity does this religion does something different. Okay, so that
Mhm.
you understand
Yeah.
it. But we're not applying a right or wrong to it within the class structure.
Okay. No, thank you. I know you've already covered that from that paragraph, but I wanted to just further it up. But I think I understand. Thank you, sir.
No, I mean and I do understand the question. That's why I'm taking time to talk about it, because I don't want us to look at what another religion does and say, okay, that's wrong. I want us to say it's different, and why my belief might say that it's it's wrong, for them it's not wrong. So all I want to know is what are they doing? Why do they do what they do? Okay, so I try to learn about different religions when I travel. Okay, so an example is that when I was in um, Bali, the school of Bali is a Hindu country predominantly. Like 85, 90% of the people are. All right. And so when I went to the school to teach at the school, I noticed that they had a flower type arrangement in each one of the classrooms with incense. Okay. So I want to know why. And I also noticed that they took time out during the day for prayer where everybody stopped and prayed at the same time. So so that's something I learned uh, uh, that they do. All right. Another thing I learned by going to the school was that we talked about um, the what we call a church or temple, whatever you want to call it. And I asked the student, when do you go to church? When do you go? And he says, we only go when there's a big meeting. I said, you don't go every week? No, we don't go every week because there in their house, individual house, is a place to pray. Everybody's house has a small temple in it, which is different than we as Christians. So again, it's an opportunity to learn, as I see it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Trezor, blessing.
I have a question, Pastor
Yes,
Joe.
yes.
Yeah. Now, yeah, I understood the objective of a lesson and stuff, but now, me as a believer, if uh, if I don't believe, for example, that me as a believer of Christ, I don't believe that my my faith or my practice or the one that I'm following is the only way to go to heaven, like Jesus. Now, how can I now have a boldness, if I will put it that way, now to share that good news so that other people will benefit from what I'm benefiting? Benefiting, talk about salvation. So I don't know if we are going outside of a topic.
No,
but
ask the question again. Make sure I answer correctly.
okay, I was saying that I understood that the objective, as we are doing this lesson, is not for us to decide to say that this religion is wrong, this one is right. And now, if we have in mind by saying that, okay, we cannot, like, us as believer, we cannot say like, okay, I believe that me as a Christian, my religion or whether what I believe, it's what will make you to be saved. Now, if I don't have it in mind, now, how can I have a boldness to share the good news to those that I believe that the religion or the belief is wrong, and they are going, they are not going to be saved if I don't share them Christ. So yeah, so this is just my son. As I was saying, I don't know if maybe my question is outside of the context of our lesson, but yeah, this a bit I don't know. Yeah, it
No,
just a thought.
I understand your question again. I understand your question. I think it's kind of what you said last, is that we've got to make sure that the purpose of this class, we're not evangelizing. We're not. This class is not to teach us how to evangelize to someone. It is for us only to understand what they believe, what they do, so that we don't misunderstand. That's the only purpose for this class. Now, if you meet someone on the street outside of this class and you want to evangelize, fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay. But within the class structure, it's not designed to evangelize, or it is designed only to say what a religion does or what the religion does not do. Nothing more.
I got it, Pastor Joe. Thank you.
Okay. But I think again we need to. I want to take the time to talk about it, because how we go through the rest of 6 weeks, we want to keep that in mind, because sometimes we're going to get pushed one way or the other because of our own personal belief. Okay. And so so that's why I want to make sure we understand that. Okay.
Yes, Pastor Joe. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good. All righty. The primary text that we're going to be using is The World's Religions, written by Houston Smith. The World's Religions, written by Houston Smith. I gave everybody the internet web address for that. Just pull the book down. You can pull it down. Don't try to keep going to the website. Just go ahead and download it. And you can use it throughout this class, and maybe want to use it other times as well. There is a section in that book on Confucius, on Confucianism. We're not going to discuss it necessarily per se, unless we have extra time, because that's not a major religion. We're only going to deal with the 5 major religions, because there are multiple religions. But go ahead and pull the book down. It costs us nothing. It's free, to do that. Okay? And we're going to look at it a little bit this evening. All right. Okay. Again, we talked about the definition and the scope of comparative religion. We just talked about that. Methodology, how are we going to compare? Okay. We're going to have a list of things that we're going to compare. Do they believe in one God, multiple gods, no God? How do we compare? Okay. Do they believe in the afterlife? Do they believe in heaven, hell? Okay. Well, our immediate response is that every major religion believes in a heaven and a hell. Well, that's not exactly the case. Not exactly the case. So we'll learn which ones do not believe in heaven and hell. Okay? All righty. Okay. Any questions there? Okay. Definition of comparative religion is the academic study of similarities and differences among world religions. Okay. Academic study of similarities and differences among world religions. Not which one is right or wrong, just what's similar and what's different. Okay. The scope is to examine beliefs, practices, rituals, ethical systems, and historical context. So we have some idea. And the purpose is to foster understanding, respect, and dialogue between different religious traditions. Okay. Any questions there? Now, okay. Key terminology. Okay, again, most of it's going to be lecture or discussion, what we're doing. Okay, religion. What's the definition of religion? It's a system of beliefs and practices related to the divine or sacred. Okay, that's how we define religion. Okay, we define theology as the study of the nature of God and religious beliefs. And the doctrine is the official teaching of a religion. The official teachings of a religion. Do we understand those three different, those 3 concepts?
Yes, Pastor.
Okay, Alfred?
Yes.
That's a slow yes.
Yes, it's a slow yes. I'm trying to trying to make the difference going through
Okay.
it as I'm saying yes.
That's all right.
But
I mean,
it's very clear with me with the doctrine, that one I'm aware, I'm very okay with that. And then the theology. But then I was still trying to grasp the religion system of beliefs and practice and all. But the 2 I'm okay.
okay. All right. And again, tonight is the introductory kind of thing to this class. So, we can take our time and make sure we understand, so we know what we're doing the remainder of the weeks that we got to study. Okay. So like some people don't believe in religion, but they believe in a God. Understand that?
How is that? They believe in religion, or they don't believe in a religion, but they believe in God.
Right. In fact, they detest religion. You know, they believe that religion is a problem. The religion is divisiveness. It creates or separates people versus believing in God, that we don't place our things in the middle to create a divisive nature.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm trying to say there?
I'm trying to.
They,
It's
they,
just
they
that
they
if
would
I
never go to
understand you
church.
very well,
Okay, they would never
yeah,
go to a church.
but they believe in God.
Right. They would never go to a church. They would never go. I mean, anything that somebody's preaching, that somebody is they don't want to listen to that. They think it's very personal, one-on-one relationship with their God. And there's some people who believe that.
All
You
right.
might hear the term people say, "I'm spiritual." Okay. Any discussion on that? Trezor, blessing.
On my side, I think I'm clear with that because I recently also learned to realize that a lot of people actually, like many people, they go to church. As myself, for example, I go to church and then I sometimes maybe make mistakes in front of people who probably are starting to learn about God. And if I make some kind of maybe big mistakes that maybe someone was actually looking up to me saying, I know Blessing. He seems to be a person who know God better than me, so I will probably follow him. And then as he's trying to take his first steps in Christ and he's seeing me messing up things, and I'm even proving to him that I don't really honor God, yet I sort of tell the world that I'm a believer. So these people, they sort of get to a point of confusion if they should really pursue going to church or should just stay in their homes. So at the end of the day, they'll end up deciding to say, I think if I go to church, probably I'll end up getting, entangled with unnecessary things, and maybe it will even make their faith worse from where the level they have been already. So they end up deciding to say, I think it's better off I just pray when I'm in my room, when I'm in my house. I don't go to church because if there's too much drama in church. See, so they sort of like, I believe in God, but I'm not going to do these religious activities of being a Christian, going to Easter, doing this, eating Holy Communion, things like this. I'm not going to do any religious activity. I'm just walking around knowing that me, myself, I believe in God. But there is a danger with those people because they claim to say they want to know God in that manner. But by not attending church, they also lose so much vast knowledge that is supposed to nourish their faith. So it's something that I learned recently. So I understand what Pastor Joe is trying to address here.
Okay. Alfred, you okay with that now?
Very much okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's go and look at a couple of other things here. Ritual. A ritual is a prescribed religious ceremony or action. A prescribed religious ceremony or action. Trezor, give me an example of something that's ritual.
Water baptism.
Okay. Okay, baptism. Okay. Blessing, another ritual.
A ritual of going to church every Sunday.
Okay. Alfred, another ritual.
I'll say Holy Communion or circumcision,
Okay.
or depending on different religion, not necessarily just Christianity.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So those are rituals. Okay. So we make sure we understand. A ritual is something can be ritual based on the doctrine of the
Beliefs.
church, or it can be something that people just do because mother did it, and because father did it, and because grandmother did it. Okay. So it's not necessarily something based upon their doctrine. It's just something that's done. Okay. A myth. It's a sacred story that explain the beliefs or history of a religion. Yes, no, don't understand?
Understand.
Okay.
Understood,
Blessing?
Pastor.
That's
Yes,
all?
Pastor.
Yeah, I understood also, Pastor Joe.
Okay. Now, we need to be careful about this. Okay? It's because myth normally means something that you don't know whether it's real or not.
Yes, that's true, Pastor. Actually, I was going to ask that question to
Right.
say,
Myth,
because
myth.
I believe as we were growing up, we were told some certain stories and we were told those are just myths. So I wanted to, so because according to this explanation, it's like now it's contrary to that. So I think it's good that you mentioned that. Thank you, sir.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I may believe something, someone might call it a myth because I can't prove it. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's not right, not real. But it's called a myth because it's something that you cannot prove. And when I say prove, I mean, there are multiple ways of facts of saying it's fact or not. Okay, any questions there? Okay. Syncretism, the blending of different religious traditions. The blending of different religious traditions. So there's some things that we as Christians do, that Muslims do, that Jews do, that Hindus do. Okay, something that we all do. So it's become syncretism. Understand?
Maybe you can explain a bit further. Because when you say what the Muslim do, what Christians do, and or do you mean that thing is similar, or you mean that there are certain things that we agree on?
Not necessarily agree with things we do. For instance,
Okay.
for instance, we all of those religions pray. Not
Okay.
all,
Okay.
but the three that I mentioned,
Most of them, yeah.
not all, the Jews, Christians, and Islam, they all,
Muslims, yeah.
your Muslims, we all pray. Okay, we usually
Okay.
bow when we pray.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, and most often we on our knees when we pray.
Okay. No, it's very
Okay,
clear. Thank you.
okay, all righty. We good there? All righty. Monotheism, belief in one God. Belief in one God. Polytheism, belief in multiple gods. Belief in multiple gods. Atheism, disbelief in the existence of God, our God. Just don't believe in God at all. Okay. Agnosticism, okay. You don't disbelieve or believe, you just say you don't know. Okay, any questions there on those definitions? Okay. Now, the methodologies that we're going to use in comparative religious studies, lecture, that's kind of what we're doing now. We're going discussions, etc. Now, let's look at the phenomenological approach. Studying religions from the perspective of their adherents without making judgments about truth or value. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to study no right, no wrong, no good, no bad, just different. Now that is not, it doesn't mean that we're going to change our belief that it's not right or wrong. It's just that we're going to try to separate our belief right or wrong from just learning about what this other religion does. Okay? Okay. Historical approach. Examining the development of historical contexts of religions. How did it come about? How did it come about? How did Christianity come about? How did Islam come about? Okay, understand it from a historical perspective. Then looking at it from a sociological perspective. Okay, how has it affected social life? Okay, so for instance, if you look at uh, Islam and you look at Christianity and you look at Judaism, sociologically, how does it affect the family? How is a woman treated? Is a woman treated differently in one religion versus the other one? Okay? Anthropological, thinking about it from a cultural perspective. Thinking about it from a cultural perspective. How did it grow? How was it 1,000 years ago? How was it 500 years ago? How is it today? Theological approach, okay, is engaging with religious beliefs from a faith perspective, often comparing doctrines. Okay. Textual analysis, examining sacred text. Okay, we use the Bible as Christians, Protestants. The 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 Jews use the Old Testament, but they do not use the New Testament. Okay, they primarily use the Torah, okay, primarily, okay. If you're an Islam religion, then you use the Quran. And there are some things in the Quran that you find in the regular Bible. And you find in the Jewish Old Testament. There's some things that are very similar. Okay. We good?
Yes,
Okay.
Pastor.
We are good.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Again, I just want to make sure we have that as a beginning point of our discussion. And we'll keep coming back to it, not trying to prep what's right or what's wrong, just what's different. Okay. All righty. Now, and I say that because not necessarily right or wrong, but when you talk to someone in China, they ask you, they ask you, are you a Christian or a Catholic? Sometimes. Are Catholics Christians? Yes or no?
That's true, Pastor.
Okay. Alfred, are Catholics Christians?
Can you repeat that? Maybe I didn't get that.
Or are Catholics Christians?
Is that supposed to be a question, or are you asking if
That's a
I've heard
question.
of that?
That's a question.
Okay. Or Christian, sorry.
Yes. Yes or no?
I think yes.
You think yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I don't understand the question really.
Okay. Trezor.
According to the category of religion, yeah, I think Catholic they are seen as Christians, although some of their practices are different with some of the practice that other Christians do. But yeah, they are seen as Christian.
Okay. I asked that question that way because that's really what we're talking about here within this lessons that we're gonna be going over, is that not trying to say one is right and one is wrong as much as trying to explain what's different. And so that when you have a conversation, people can understand the conversation clearly, clearly. Catholics are Christians. No question about that. A Christian believes in Christ. A Christian believes that Christ came as the Messiah.
Excuse me,
Clearly,
Pastor John.
huh? Yes.
No, I think I didn't really get your question well. You are not getting, because you are trying to ask probably to say Catholics Christians or not, in the sense that we have Muslims, Hindus, and all those things. In that context, I think. I don't know
Yes.
if yes, no. Then no, they are Christians, of course. Yes, no, I didn't get it in the first place, really.
But again, I say that because for a lot of people in China, they know there's a difference, but they see the difference as two different religions, two completely different religions. They do not see it as both being Christians. And that's kind of what we're trying to talk about is that it's making sure that when we talk about something that's different, that we keep those thoughts in mind. Okay? Okay.
Okay,
Now
Mr. Joe.
let's do a brief overview of the major world religions. And we're going to talk about each one in detail on a different night. But just as a overview, okay? Hinduism. Alfred, can you read those?
Yes, Pastor Joe. Hinduism history, origin, emerged in the Indian subcontinent over 4,000 years ago. Development evolved through various phases, including the Vedic period, the how do you pronounce that?
Apostolic.
Apostolic period, and the rise of developed devotional movements. Key features: no single founder. Key figures include sage like West spiritual leaders like Ramaja and Shankara.
Okay.
Key beliefs: Dharma, righteous duty or moral order; Karma, law of cause and effects; Samhara, cycle of rebirth; Moksha, liberal from the cycle of rebirth; Atman, the individual soul; Brahman, the
Ultimate.
the ultimate reality or world soul; practice,
Okay. You can
ritual.
stop there. You can stop there
All
because
right.
y'all have this in writing. I send it to you. But
Yes.
again, this is Hinduism. Okay. Now, I will tell you is that like everything else, like every other religion, there are different sects of it. So like in Bali, their Hindu is a little different than the Hindu that's in India. But they're still both believe in Hinduism. Okay. Okay. Look at the practices there, Alfred. Go ahead and read those practices.
Okay. Rituals, banjo worship, yajna, sacrificial rituals, and festivals like Diwali and Holi. Yoga, various paths of spiritual development, including bhakti, devotion, jnana, knowledge; karma, action; and raja, meditation.
Now, all of those are forms of yoga.
Okay.
Okay.
Pilgrimage, visits to sacred sites like the Ganges River and temples.
Right. Now again, we'll talk about this a lot more. In Hinduism, they do not go to church on a Saturday or Sunday or Friday or anything like that. They pray X number of times during the day. Everybody stops and prays at the same time, and and they have a temple in their house. or in the usually in the individual house, but at least it'd be within a neighborhood. Okay, any questions there? Okay. And we'll talk about some more about Dharma or karma. We'll talk about those things. Okay. Because that's something that's out there for us to make sure we understand. Okay. Trezor, Buddhism.
History, origin, founded by Siddhartha Gautama Buddha in the 5th century BC in India. Spread, expanded throughout Asia, leading to the development of various branches such as Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Hey, key figure. Buddha, along with prominent disciples like Ananda and Mahakashyapa. They believe four noble truths. Key belief, four noble truths. One, the reality of suffering, its cause, its end, and the path to its end. The eightfold path, right understanding, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. And nirvana, that means liberation from suffering and the cycle of rebirth. Anatta means the doctrine of no self. Anicca means impermanence of all things. And the practices they have like meditation, which is a technique such as vipassana, which is insight, samatha, which means calmness. The ethical conduct, they observe precept and ethical guideline. And finally, monastic life, they're following a monastic code called Vinaya or Vinaya for monks and nuns. And the festival, they celebrate things like Vesak, which is Buddha birth, or enlightenment and death.
Okay. All right. Any questions there? Okay. Judaism. Blessing. Judaism.
Judaism, history, origins traces back to the covenant made between God and Abraham around 2000 BC. Development is shaped by key events such as the Exodus, the Babylonian exile, and the return to Israel. Key figures in Judaism, that's patriarchs like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, prophets like Moses and Isaiah. As for the key beliefs, we look at monotheism, that is belief in one God, that is Yahweh, and covenant, that is the special relationship between God and the Jewish people. Torah, that is the central reference of the religious Judaic tradition. Mitzvot, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Mitzvot, I don't know.
Yeah, mitzvot is right.
Okay. It talks about the commandments given by God. Messianic.
Okay, hold on a minute. Stop 1 minute. Yeah. Have you ever heard of mitzvah?
Never heard of it, Pastor. It's my first time.
Okay, but mitzvah is when
Neither.
a boy gets 12 years of age and he goes to the temple and they do a ceremony. Okay. And Christ did the same thing. Did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Blessing.
Yes, Pastor.
Do you know Christ did the same thing?
I didn't really get you clearly, Pastor. I'm sorry.
By mitzvah.
Yes.
Christ participated in the bat mitzvah.
Well, it is actually my first time to hear about this.
I'm sorry, say again?
It is my first time to hear about mitzvot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
right.
Yes.
Right. But when Christ went on a trip with his parents found out he wasn't with them, and then they went back. He was teaching.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember the story. Yes, I remember that story.
Right. Okay. That was his mitzvah.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't him alone. It was any child of 12 years of age, any boy 12 years of age.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Continue.
Messianic hope. It talks about belief in a future Messiah who will restore Israel and bring peace. Practices. The practices includes rituals, that is circumcision, bar or bat mitzvah, Sabbath observance, and kosher dietary laws. Another practice is prayer, that is daily prayers, particularly the Shema and Amida. Another practice is festivals, that includes religious holidays like Passover, Yom Kippur, and Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. Yom Kippur.
Okay. And the last practice is study, that is to engagement with sacred texts such as the Torah, Talmud, and Midrash.
Right. Again, as we'll take one day and one class to study this completely, but just to kind of give you a heads up, you know what Passover is, right?
Yes.
Yom Kippur and Hanukkah. You know those.
No, I don't know those things.
Okay, Hanukkah is around the same time as Christmas. Okay, all righty. When he talks about the study of the sacred texts such as the Torah, the Talmud, and Midrash, most, not most, all Jewish children go to school after public school. They go to their religious school, and they have to learn. They have to memorize these things. It's the expectation. So they go to regular school, and then they go to the Jewish school. After school. Okay. All righty. Islam, Alfred.
Islam history, origin, founded in the 7th century CE in Mecca by the Prophet Muhammad. Maybe before I go further, what does CE stand for?
Oh, you say AD?
Yes.
BC, AD?
Yeah, I thought
CE,
of that. Yes.
CE is the same as AD.
Oh. But we know that AD stands for after the death of Christ.
Right.
Then CE, what exactly does it mean?
Let me think. It means the same thing, but it took Christ out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trezor, help me. I forgot what it stands, what it means literally.
Which was CE or AD?
CE.
No, AD is after the death of Christ, and EC, I wanted to know exactly, but I understand it's more or less the same thing like AD or
Yeah, it's
all
the
that.
same as AD, but
Yes.
they don't use it as Christ. It's
Common era.
huh?
It defined as a common era.
Yeah, common era. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember that.
All right. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Trezor.
Are you welcome?
Yes. Spread rapidly expanded across the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. Key features: Muhammad, along with caliphs like Abu Bakr and Umar. Key beliefs: Tawhid, the oneness of God, Allah. Prophethood, belief in prophets with Muhammad as the final prophet. Revelation, the Quran as the ultimate revealed scripture. The Quran, sorry. 5 pillars: declaration of faith, shahad, prayer, salat, fasting, sham, alms-giving, zakat, and pilgrimage, hajj, and ahira, believe in the afterlife and day of judgment. Practices: prayer, which means performing the 5 daily prayers. Fasting, observing the fast during the month of Ramadan. Charity, giving a portion of wealth to those in need. Pilgrimage, making the pilgrimage of Mecca at least once if able.
Right. That's pilgrimage.
Yes. Pilgrimage, I think it's just my tongue. I can't pronounce, but I know. Yes. And ethical contact, adhering of normal and legal guidelines outlined in Sharia.
Right.
Yes.
Again, we're going to spend a complete evening on this, but there are actually 2 major divisions in the Muslim faith, which is part of the problem that exists today in the Middle East, that those 2 divisions don't get along. Okay. All righty. And then we have Christianity. And, it's key beliefs, belief in the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, significance of Jesus Christ's incarnation, crucifixion, resurrection, and salvation. The Bible is the sacred scripture, both the Old and New Testament. Salvation through faith. Okay. Major rituals, baptism, and Eucharist. Eucharist, Holy Communion. Okay. Any questions there? Yes. Those are the 5 major religions that we're going to discuss. Okay. We'll skip the other part for now. All right. And let's look at the book a little bit. Point of departure. Can everyone see that?
Yes, Pastor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Trezor, you can see it?
Yes, Pastor Joe.
Okay, this comes from the book, or not, I think everyone said they had not really read it. So let's take a couple minutes to glance at it a little bit. Fizzo, start reading, please.
Although,
I write.
okay, I write, okay. Point of
Okay.
departure. So I write these opening lines on a day widely celebrated throughout Christendom as Worldwide Communion Sunday. The sermon in the service I attended this morning dwelt on Christianity as a world phenomenon. From Mount Hut in Africa to the Canadian tundra, Christians are kneeling today to receive the element of the Holy Eucharist. It is an impressive picture. Still, as I listen, with half my mind, the other half wander to the wider company of God seekers. A sort of a Yemenite Jews I watched 6 months ago in the synagogue in Jerusalem. Dark skin, men sitting, shoeless, and cross-legged on the floor, wrapped in a prayer shawl. Their ancestor wore in the desert. They are there today, at least a quorum of 10, morning and evening, swaying backward and forward like camel rider as they recite their Torah, following a form they inherit unconsciously from the centuries when their fathers were forbidden to ride the desert horse and develop this pretense in compensation. Yalcin, the Muslim architect who guided me through the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, has completed his month's Ramadan fast, which was beginning while we were together. But he too is praying today, 5 times as he prostrates himself toward Mecca. Swami Ramakrishna, in his tiny house by the Ganges at the foot of Himalayas, will not speak today. He will continue the devotional silence that, with the exception of 3 days each year, he has kept for 5 years. By this hour, UNU is probably facing the delegation crisis and cabinet meeting that have a lot of a prime minister. But from 4 to 6 this morning, before the world broke over him, he too was alone with the eternal in the privacy of a Buddhist shrine that I joined his home in Rangoon. Daijo and Lai-san, Zen monks in Kyoto, were ahead of him by an hour. They have been up since 3 this morning, and until 11 tonight, we spend most of the day sitting immovable in the lotus position as they seek with intense absorption to plumb the Buddha nature that lies at the center of the being.
Okay, stop there. All right, okay, and Blessing, pick up, please.
I'm starting from
What is strange?
What a strange fellowship this is. The God seekers in every land, lifting their voices in the most desperate ways imaginable to the God of all life. How does it sound from above? Like bedlam, or to this strain blend in strange ethereal harmony? Does one faith carry the lead, or do the parts share in counterpoint and antiphony, where not in full-throated chorus? We cannot know. All we can do is try to listen carefully and with full attention to each voice in turn as it addresses the divine. Such listening defines the purpose of this book. It may be wondered if the purpose is not to share. I'll read again. It may be wondered if the purpose is not too broad. The religions we propose to consider built the world. Their histories stretch back thousands of years, and they are motivating more people today than ever before. It is possible to listen seriously to them within the compass of a single book. The answer is that it is, because we shall be listening for well-defined themes. These must be listed at the outset, or the pictures that emerge from these pages will be distorted.
Right. Okay. So you can see from his initial writing how he's trying to look at all of these five religions basically, and not trying to place one above the other. And that's what we will be trying to do as we understand these religions. Okay. Any questions there? Comments there? No questions, no
Yes, Pastor
comments?
Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a comment. Yeah. No,
Okay.
like you're saying, as we are reading along, I realized that he was describing different religion, like probably the first one he talked about Christianity, and he went on to Muslims, and probably he went into Judaism and the other one. So he was just trying to describe how they are doing their way of worship in a different way, even how they concentrate, because we find that others can lie down, they can sit down there for maybe hours and just concentrating and meditating and all that. That's what I've noticed, that like you are saying, he was really trying to show us the different way of how all these different religions maybe do their worship or do their rituals or do whatever is involved in their beliefs. Yeah, that's what I've taken from those paragraphs. Thank you.
Okay. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Other comments or questions? Okay, and this is look at number 2 here. Trezor, read 2 because this is very important to understand as well.
Okay. Even in the realm of meaning, the book does not attempt to give a rounded view of the religion considered. For each of differences that are too numerous to be delineated in a single chapter, one need only think of Christendom, Eastern Orthodox Christian worship in ornate cathedral, while Quakers consider even steeples desecrations. They are Christian mystics and Christian who reject mysticism. They are Christian Jehovah's Witnesses and Christian Unitarian. How is it possible to say in a manageable chapter what Christianity means to all Christians? The answer, of course, is that it's not possible. Selection is unavoidable. The question facing an author is not whether to select among points of view. The question are how many to present and which ones. In this book, the first question is answered economically. I try to do reasonable justice to several perspectives instead of attempting to catalog them all. In the case of Islam, this has meant ignoring Sunni or Shiite and traditional modernist division, while noting different attitude toward Sufis. In Buddhism, I distinguish it Ainayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana tradition. But the major schools within Mahayana are bypassed. The subdivision never exceed 3, lest 3 obscure the wood. But, put the matter this way. If you are trying to describe Christianity to an intelligent and interested, but busy Thailander, how many denominations would you include? It will be difficult to ignore the differences between Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and Protestant. But you would probably not get into what separates Baptist from Presbyterian.
Okay, stop there. Stop there. So again, just make sure is that this is an overview. It is not intended to be specific. Okay, so even though we're going to study Hinduism, we're going to study Buddhism. There's some separate things within that. Okay, that we're not going to touch in our discussion because we don't have time. Okay, the same thing with the Islam. Remember, I told you there were 2 major sects. That's the Sunni and the Shiite. Okay, he doesn't attempt to divide those up as a part of the study. He keeps them like one and the same. Maybe if he were doing it today, he might want to keep them separate because actually separate them because there are 2 major problems within that set now. Okay, any questions on what we're trying to do as we prepare for next week?
Yes, Pastor, just maybe a brief question on, I don't know if you know, kind of like the major difference between like baptism and Presbyterian, precisely in the US. Yeah,
Yes.
like what is mostly the doctrine or the doctrine of any church that are like call themselves like Baptist church.
Okay.
What they don't believe.
Yeah, the major difference is that Baptists tend to be individual churches. They do not come under an umbrella of a multiple churches. So if someone has a pastor of a church, he pastors that church forever. Unless he or the church decide to split ways. Okay. Presbyterians, on the other hand, they're part of an association, and their ministers rotate. Okay. And they're if you think in terms of the Catholic way of doing things, Presbyterians are closer to Catholics than Baptists. Baptists are completely different. The Presbyterians are closer to the Catholic way of doing things. Still Protestant, but they do things quite similar to the way that the Catholics do.
Thank you,
Did
Pastor.
does that answer your question?
Yes, I think in some part, yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
I don't know when we are going to reach to the. I don't know if we are going to cover this. So maybe I would like to hear more on that difference, or also, like on the doctrine, like precisely on the baptism. What is the like as we know, for example, with I think Protestant, is it like Pentecostist for instance, yeah, for instance, okay, it was not mentioned here, but like Pentecostist, for example, I think most of the people from the Pentecostist denomination, they believe, you know, in the fruit of the spirit, like speaking tongues and all these things. So now, how about like baptism? Do they believe in speaking tongues? I mean, the practicability, the way that they do, yeah, some religious, yeah, Christian things, yeah, like if we can have some construct, actually, yeah, me precisely, yeah.
We could have some discussion on it. On maybe not a lot in class because we want to try to keep the class kind of generalized, but but certainly we can have it individually outside of
Okay.
class. But I will we talk about it also in class to some degree. But again, the basic difference is the Baptists are, I mean, the Presbyterians is like here's the Catholic Church, and then Martin Luther came and separated out, and then but the Lutherans, Presbyterians are very similar to Catholics, except they don't believe in the Pope and things like that. But they don't do water submersion, you know, they do sprinkling and things like that. Whereas a Baptist church generally they do water submersion. They almost all Baptist churches do water submersion. That's baptism, Baptist. That kind of goes hand in hand. And again, Baptist churches tend to be individual. They run themselves. They no one runs it for them. They don't look to a leader to tell them what to do within the church. Whereas Presbyterians do. They have a system in place whereby the ministers are all approved by this body, and they move the ministers around from church to church as they seem fit to do. As versus Baptist, the preacher is just a pastor of that particular church. It has no real, it doesn't rotate itself when he decides he wants to find another place to pastor, or the church decides they don't want him anymore.
Okay.
That's a basic difference.
Thank you,
Okay.
Pastor. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, so next week we're gonna study on Hinduism. Hinduism. So if you get the book, and you'll see in the book that next chapter is Hinduism. Okay? Any questions there? Any questions there? Okay. Again, you have an idea of how he's trying to write the book, and so you should know that. Okay. And see right there, Hinduism. That's what we're going to talk about next week. Okay. Any questions? We good?
Yes, Pastor Joe.
So far, so good.
Yes,
All
Pastor.
right. Okay. And again, download the book because we're going to continue to refer to this book. So go ahead and just download it. It doesn't cost you anything. Okay. Let me stop the recording.